I used to think that we Bhutanese always pride ourselves as having a highly gender egalitarian society. I think that is true to some extent due to strong spirits of a majority of our women. However, on deeper observation, I now realize that we have been just ignorant of how much our women contribute to our nation building through endless unpaid works and how some of them have been suffering silently through generations.
There is no doubt that Bhutanese women in general are experiencing far better lives today. In comparison, I keep hearing from my own parents and elderlies about how difficult their lives were just a few decades ago.
Metobla ditsira de chu jogo tele no choilo sing thua jogolo tele thana rangi alulo omchira leshumbe jinigi ditse metobla
ni dilabu zaningibu yamna patrunila turkamera thokni chu omchang namdabu soso turun handenibu nabu thonyani chu niunira wakta dini I wakta kile champana apa ibi kisara handabu gilara masewani ibi pera masewani
Progress sugin de khora gawachi me magawachin apa khasi mitube te sematub dara ai di lukan ya nam same bomo me aluda kanil
포기 차샵로 다 팀디 다지 지야스 좀 지래 때때 처음에 세슈닐라 때때 포자기 카들레 때다 알루지 강아샤 타들로 답도 모도디 때 엄수기 빌로 때 알루지 조자베베 병알레 팀기 람루 베루데 때때렌 나하나데 접들 베스주레 데 올람디 때 야톤 때 봄지데지 때 마먼 때 응압주 주주주 다네베 베병알레 때다 주탕주라 때다 네바디 때다 알루디다 때 아이루 임베 세슈닐라
nyama bia chindidi namsabe ka uchemela amtu disu ikhal phalo te kachmo se wachin lenka disu bolo khami
aba आफ्नो नानी पाउने छ भने गाउँमा हस्पिटल देखेर थिएन हामी आउनु पर्थ्यो 90 किलोमिटर बजारमा हस्पिटलमा आइपुग्दाखेरि 90 किलोमिटर हो हाम्रो गाउँबाट
ngachi phame kap duludi te alu khago be ke nimela te kathapse minula tera khamchi ke sub alu chungi chusuke ruke nganga thutuke ruke tera khago be ke subra ke nimede te boda yaluchi didi te sosobe yaluchi didi shiumedela te tare bengala alulu shinigi teme shike mi aye te aluke nyigi shisi se utebelam nera mi la ta khara ke te khara puluju te ngachi ga ajiri buchige te ngachi ge mi se solo te kalop bom naila kalop zambara nai te tangacha zase namisame ge zase mambe chini meu te zase de kanim nyunyu chi se mi solo ko matutu ko na te men ka them the kha ngachi yugo nala pha bere te men ka them the kha chu thungso kha chole sha chu bengale te alu ke ro kara ke se chip de lejim ra omila
ngachira gi amtu da ma pisu kha che go bi nya de ngoma digi tenda sawra kachimo se wachin namisami chi chi khasem seta dele chinda lutab de uma de utin dele la luchi phoge gi de te ta amtu so chedi majid di besa chere la ligi sho cha ta chi cha la lugi ani zumbe te pha de slo jushile amtu yese chinda lo goma shible ten digi te kan del bom rani be chumna se shudolla
ta phoge chamchul membela ta jodi te amtu ge jumela phoge ge jum mani didi achichi 다 포자라 만동라 다 침나 돈조베 되는 shum마베 두미티투 다 마음라 포자티투 만동라 주슈드라 암츠츠 임즈메 톰메라
केटी उमेर सानो हुन्थ्यो बुद्धि पुग्दैन थियो अनि कुट्नु यस्तो गर्थ्यो नि त बुढाले घरमा आएर चाहिँ अब कुट्नु कति काम गरेर दुःख पाएर गलेको हुन्थ्यो बुढा उता गएर के अरे अर्को केटीसँग लागेर आयो के अरे घरमा न्यु खोज्यो बुढीलाई कुट्यो अनि हो त्यो भएपछि अब सबै थोक घरको काम पनि बुढीले गर्दाखेरि त्यति हो भएर दुःख हुन्थ्यो र चाहिँ सर अहिले आमाले बुझ्दा
gacha amsuti tap ma de bi kachi mo se achin ngachare gi dra di ngorang gi lulu ta di ni digi dra zo kha bakti gi ni digi te pha kumthe ji go gi sakhara judi besa chere te ne kha du se shudala
ta ke phoja begale khoru kachira beru kachira kate jodi beru ta jimi gi khata tim be mi mindo tenga cham swichi beli ten ta chikhale jo kachi la chungu chira jusore rugi khata tim be me. While the COVID-19 incidentally banned social gathering of clubs, karaoke and dryans, still then the risk of STD remains high if preventive measures and advocacy is not undertaken. I heard that one of the most common problem of family fluid are husband spending money on alcohol while their kids and wife remain almost hungry at home. I think the COVID-19 is a case where we have learned clearly that we have not done enough. For instance, we have read in the newspaper that the domestic violence cases have been increasing. Then we have to consider that many women must have been suffering silently, not reporting their cases. Stories of hardships are very normal to hear, but it is good that we are at least in Bhutan, where we are ruled by very far-sighted kings who ensures very stable government for its people and us women.
Otherwise, when I look at the situations of other countries such as Middle East, I feel so sad for women's conditions in these countries.
We have now developed an accelerated mother and child health policy to address the health of both the mother and child, to ensure a healthy mother and a healthy child, and ultimately healthy adolescent population who will contribute as healthy adults for a healthy nation. We have another program, the Adolescent Health Program, that looks at adolescent sensitive issues like adolescents' nutrition, sexual and reproductive health needs, and mental health issues of the adolescent. All these informations will be very useful for us to address the issues related to the violence against women.
I think today most Bhutanese people understand the issues of domestic violence. This has been possible due to the efforts put in by various government agencies like the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, NCWC, and NGOs like Renew.
In Bhutan, one of the key challenges is the very low representation of women in decision-making roles, be it in politics, in governance, or in leadership. It is important that women are involved in the decision-making process and not merely treated as beneficiaries. The National Key Result Area 10 of the 12th Five-Year Plan clearly reflects the Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is on gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, and it has very clear targets on preventing and eliminating gender-based violence. While it will take a long time for gender parity and gender equality to be achieved, especially in the areas of decision-making, in the areas of economic empowerment, and also in the areas of the elimination of gender-based violence, the fight must go on, and all the service providers need to act together.
I think when I first saw this book, I was just captured by the images, but like actually taking time to read the stories, like it's taken me on a whole roller coaster of emotions.
You know what hit me the most was about the child marriage. So I kept reading it, and it's hard to believe that this is actually non-fiction and it's someone's reality.
Sad, but it's most disheartening. The Penal Code of Bhutan has been amending so many laws, but despite the fact the girls are still lacking.
And to think like Bhutan has come so far, especially with our developmental progress, but the fact that these problems, these issues are still a problem to this day.
Right? There's always new problems arising, So I think one of the serious problems you see today in this day is social media. So people meet online and they develop a relationship there, right? That you don't even meet them in person, you don't even have to meet them in person. And then I think when they do meet them in person, I guess they turn out to be really different. So I think majority of women go through that problem.
You're right, like, you know, as you said, like, you know, development brings like new problems as well. And, you know, even as a country, like, we have like our government agencies and like organizations like Renew, like advocating for women's rights. But at the end of the day, it's still up to the women to speak up for themselves. You know, you have a platform, but if there are no speakers on it, like, you can't do much. So I think as a nation, we still have a long way to go.
With gross national happiness concept as a guiding principles, Bhutan is known to have most progressive policies and legislations with regard to rights and protection of women and girls and children. Yet we see heartbreaking stories of violence against women and children repeating over and over again. Therefore, we can not be complacent, but ask ourselves, remind ourselves, challenge ourselves, why are these stories not getting old, and how each one of us help not to hear these stories. It boils down to the mindset, the attitude of each one of us towards the social issues. This clearly shows we need to do a lot before we realize our goal to have a just, equitable and happy family in a society. So Renew commits to continue working with the community people at the grassroots through education and information, under the benevolent leadership of Her Majesty Gerim Sagichuri Monchuk, and of course support from national and international partners.